My name is Mary with Make Your Own Molds and MarvelousMolds.com. In this video, we are going to make a polymer clay pendant using our jewel mold. The materials you'll need for this project are all shown here. We're going to be using 3 different colors of polymer clay. It's available in a wide variety, and these are the ones that we've selected for our project. I like the FIMO Soft variety. It's easy on your hands. We also have a needle tool and a clay tool. We have a baking surface here that we're going to use. We have some jewelry parts. We have some chain, as well as some jump rings. We have some bails, which are what your chain runs through. And we also have some lobster claws, which make the clasp at the back of your necklace. We need 2 pairs of needle nose pliers, as well as a pair of nippers. We also have some Sculpey brand gloss glaze that we'll use with a synthetic fiber brush. This is Golden Taklon. You can find these at any craft store. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to be using this cavity of the mold. It does offer 2 different varieties, and we're going to use this one here. So we're going to start with our first color of clay. And you want to pull off a piece of this, and you're going to knead this with your fingers to get it nice and soft and pliable. And we're going to use little pieces of this to fill the bottom of our mold cavity. So once you've got that all worked up, I'm going to take a little piece and we will press it down into the very bottom of our mold here. Actually looks like about the right amount. And I like to go around the edge with my clay tool and press, and just make sure that you press it in really well and thorough all the way around so that you pick up all the details that this mold has to offer. So we'll press that around, make sure we get everything. Actually, could use a little bit more now that I've pressed it down in there. So I'll put another little piece in there and use this clay tool to press it in. So we just want to fill that first layer of our mold with the first color. And so then we're going to get our second color here, which is our green. We're going to get a little blob of this. And you'll also work this until it's nice and pliable. And use small pieces again. And we're filling just this second layer here of our mold. Pretty close. I need a little bit more, so you just keep adding small pieces until it fills it the way that you would like it to. So once you get that full, I use my clay tool again, and I like to go around the edges, make sure that it's cleanly filling that layer and that it's pressed nice and tight so that you pick up all your details. So we'll do that again, give it a little press. Got our second layer in there. So then we're going to use our third color, which is our blue. So you'll get some of this off of the block and get that nice and workable. You're going to use a bigger piece of this blue because this third layer of our mold is a lot more surface area that we have to fill. And with this third layer, I like to roll this clay into a little snake and make a donut. And lay that in here and then press that to fill. That will help your first 2 colors stay in place and not squish into other areas that we don't want them in. So that'll get me a nice first layer down in there. I'm gonna need a little more. So I'll break a little more off of my block and knead that. And you'll just continue adding until the back of your mold is completely full. Lay this in here. And this mold is great for a variety of materials. There's another video on our Facebook page where Mary Beth uses this mold with some fondant to make a edible jewel to put on a bow on a cake. So this mold is good for a variety of materials. So you can see that I've overfilled this, and so I have some excess clay here. And so I'm just going to pinch that off and then flatten out the back again. So you want this to be pretty flush with the surface of the mold. So you'll press that in there. So now our mold is nice and full. And so now we want to remove our casting from our mold. And this mold makes unmolding really easy. It has this really nice lip edge around the outside, and that makes it nice and easy to loosen your polymer clay. So you'll just give it a little bit of a working around. And then I like to put my thumb on the back and flip this right out, and it just falls right out of the mold. Very simple. So now we have this beautiful 3-colored gemstone necklace pendant, and you have to handle this fairly gently because right now the clay is still really soft and pliable. So just be gentle when handling it because it's easy to squish your details if you're not careful. So now we're going to use our needle tool, and we're going to make a hole so that we can attach all of our jewelry hardware to this piece. And so I like to keep my hand behind the piece because as you're piercing this, it's very easy to distort your piece. So just do this gently. So I like to put my hole between 2 of the gemstones, and I'll go nice and slow. And I like to slide it just down between my fingers and then pull it right back up and out. And that gives us a nice little hole in between the gems that we'll be able to add our jump ring to. So now we're going to lay this on our baking surface. I like to pat it so it's nice and flat. And we're now going to bake this in our oven at 230 degrees for 30 minutes. Different brands of clay require different baking temperatures and times, so make sure you check the brand you've selected for the appropriate baking. So we're going to go ahead and bake this. So once it's done baking, you're going to have this nice solid piece of jewelry. So now we can handle it, and it is baked into essentially a piece of plastic. And so now we're going to add our gloss coating to this. Also, once you've baked your piece in your mold, you don't want to use that mold later for something edible. So you would want to have a separate set for anything that you're going to eat. So the polymer clay mold only for that material. So we're using this Sculpey brand gloss glaze, and this is going to enhance the colors, and it'll also make the surface nice and shiny to make it as bling as possible. I love this stuff. So we're using our Taklon brush, and you just get a little on your brush and you go around the surface of your object, and you're just going to add a layer of this. You want it to be thin and even. So it might look a little bit opaque when you first start to put it on, but it will dry translucent. So you'll go around the whole surface of your object, and you're just going to add this gloss. So once you have the whole surface coated with your gloss, you'll let this dry for about an hour, and you can add a second coat and a third coat if you want to, and it'll just get more and more shiny. And I think you can also see that the color is nicely enhanced. It kind of makes the colors a little bit more saturated, which I really like. So once that dries, you'll have a nice, shiny, bright facets on all of your gemstones. And so now we're going to add our hardware to this to make it wearable. So first we're going to need both of our pairs of needle nose pliers. And we're also going to use a jump ring and one of your bails. So you'll simply grab your jump ring with both pairs of pliers, and there's a split in your jump rings, and it's right here in between my pliers. So you'll twist this open, and then you simply slide your freshly made necklace pendant on your jump ring, and then you'll, at the same time, you're going to add your bail to the top there. And then you'll use both pairs of pliers again to twist that link shut. You want to make sure your sides match up nicely. And so then you have a nice wearable pendant. And if you have a chain at home already that you change pendants out on, you can just slide this onto a chain of your choice, but you can also make your own chain. To make a necklace pendant or necklace for your pendant, at the craft store they sell chain by the yard, and you can select from a variety of styles of chain that they have there, so then you have complete control over the style of your chain and the length of your chain. And so we're just going to take a section of this, and you can cut it to whatever length you would like it to be. And so that's when you're going to use your nipping tool. And so this is a little bit long, so I'm going to cut a little bit of this off. So just depending on how long you like your chain to be, you can adjust that. So then we're just going to attach to one end a ring, and to the other end a lobster claw. So you'll do the same thing as attaching your bail. You're just going to twist open your jump ring. You're going to slide on your lobster claw, and you're going to slide on your chain onto your ring. And then you're just going to twist this closed. And then on the other end, all you need is a jump ring. Oh, but before we put that on, we're going to slide this chain through our bail, because that jump ring will not fit. So slide this through here. There we go. Now we can attach this jump ring to the end. And we'll twist that one shut. And just hook your lobster claw onto your jump ring. And then you have a finished piece of jewelry that you can keep for yourself or give as a present. And what's wonderful is that because you have your mold, you can make as many of these as you want to. You can make them in a variety of colors. And if you visit our website, Marvelous Molds or MakeYourOwnMolds.com, you can find a variety of molds that are wonderful for making different necklace pendants in all sorts of different styles.